Hey there and welcome to our last video here in Chapter Tool, Layers, and Tools. Now there are a lot of tools in Photoshop that you can use either on the current layer that you're on, or you can use them on a new layer. Now using them on a new layer is pretty much always preferable because that is a way of non-destructive editing. You just need to know what settings to check. So that's why I wanted to create this layer, just to help you guys use these tools in a non-destructive manner. And we also get a great tip on basically creating a layer that's a copy of everything that you see. So if you need to do something like liquefy or use the patch tool or apply a filter, you don't have to do that on the background layer. Okay, let's jump in. So we're going to start off with, here's our beautiful beachside image, and we're just going to remove some of the people in the foreground. So let's create a new layer here. Again, I'm always wanting to create a new layer. If I ever have the opportunity, let's create a new layer. Okay. Now we're going to start off with the Spot Healing Brush tool. So by default, I don't think it comes with Sample All Layers checked by default. It may. It's been a long time since I had Photoshop in the default settings. But if you don't have that checked and you try using the Spot Healing Brush tool to remove people or objects or blemishes, whatever, it's simply not going to do anything. Okay? And this may lead a lot of people to believe that they have to click on their background layer in order to actually get the tool to work. Okay, so that's why I made this section, basically to say, like, a lot of these tools have an option to sample all layers. So if I sample all layers, it's going to only paint on my new layer. However, it's going to sample information from the layers underneath it. Okay, so this is just a really great way to be able to remove objects from your images using these tools and keep your image non-destructively edited, meaning you can get back to that at any time, just making that layer visible or invisible. So here's some of the tools that will work for this. Spot Healing Brush tool, the regular Healing Brush tool as well. So you have options here to sample. You can sample the current layer, okay? And the current layer, there's, this is not really going to do anything because there's basically like nothing on this current layer, right? Well, there's a little bit on this. Let's go ahead and create a new one, in which case this will really do absolutely nothing. You can sample current and below, which will sample this layer and anything under it. So if I sample here and paint over, there we go, paint right over there, perfect. Or you can sample all layers, which will sample layers that are above that layer as well. Okay, so basically for all your blemish removal, you can do all that on a new layer. Now another great way to remove blemishes or objects you don't want is the Clone Stamp tool. So let's go to our Clone Stamp tool, and here we can see we have the same options. Sample the current layer, current and below, or all layers. So most of the time I've got this set to current and below, so I can sample right over here, hold Alt or Option, and then paint right over here. Boom, and there we go, our umbrella is completely gone. Looking really good. Now, let's go ahead and create a new layer and try to use one of our tools called the Patch tool. So the Patch tool is kind of like a Healing Brush tool, just works on a larger scale. So the Patch tool is located right underneath your Spot Healing Brush tool. Here we go, Patch tool. Now, with this Patch tool, I'm going to circle around the area that I want to move and then try to move it. But what it's going to say is the Patch tool couldn't do its job because the selected area is empty. Okay, now that's a little bit of a problem because with the Patch tool, I don't see an option that says sample current and below. Okay, some of these tools won't actually let you sample what's underneath them. So that may lead you to believe that you have to do this on your background layer when in fact you don't. You should use what's called an Apply Image. Now Apply Image will basically take a snapshot of everything you see and just put that on a new layer. And this is a great way to work non-destructively, especially if you need to work on a layer that actually has something on it. So let's go ahead and deselect here. Now I'm going to make these layers visible so we can see what we're doing here. Okay, I'm going to erase away the part where I took that umbrella away. Okay, so these layers are now visible. I'm going to make a new layer, and we're going to use Apply Image. So let's go to Image and down to Apply Image. Super easy to do. And it literally takes your image that you're looking at, okay? It's just visual. And it just applies that on a new layer. So we want our layer here to be merged. I want to merge all of our layers together. You can see it doesn't actually merge them, though. It takes them all together and then puts it on a new layer. So this is a very good non-destructive way of doing this. Okay, your channel RGB, your blending mode can be multiply or normal, both work. There we go, and we're going to hit OK. So now we can see, let's just use our move tool so we can see what's on this layer. It's literally just everything that we see on one layer. Okay? And you can see, because I had these layers visible, that is baked into this layer. Okay? So if you ever need to work on a layer, like let's say you're using the liquify tool or the patch tool, or you want to apply a filter, or you want to do a transform, if you ever need that layer accessible, don't go to your background layer, just do apply image, and then you'll basically have a copy, and that copy will include everything that you see. So now let's go ahead and grab our patch tool, ba-ba-da-bum, and we just circle around here and click and drag over there, boom, and that will actually duplicate that. Or you can click on your source, there we go, and that'll completely get rid of that. So the patch tool works really, really nicely. I like the patch tool a lot. You just have to do that on an apply image because it won't work on a blank layer. So basically your only other option would be this background. That's why I wanted to make sure to include this apply image, because it's super, super important. So that was the big lesson, guys. Always create new layers whenever you want to do any editing in Photoshop, and check out your tools. Make sure they have a sample option for sampling all layers or sampling current and below. And if they don't, go to image and down to apply image. It'll create a snapshot of everything you can see, and then you can work anything you want on that layer, and it's not going to destroy your original image, keeping us non-destructive editing. Thank you guys so much. I really hope you enjoyed this chapter. If you haven't already done so, please leave us a review on Phlearn.com. It helps us out, and it helps out other students know what you think of the tutorial. All right, we got one more great chapter for you. We got some wonderful tips and tricks. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Well, night for me, maybe day for you. Have a good rest of your life. Bye, everyone.